Welcome to the Alchemistik laboratory. This is just a super cool exercise that we're going to make. We're going to learn how to make all these details, and it should be quite an easy tutorial to do. After, when we put it in Blender, we can get something like this. I think it looks super cool for a game prop or for some animation. So let's get started with the tutorial. Okay, let's start as always, deleting the cube and going to the front view, and now we drag and drop our image. So this reference I found, I think it's quite a good exercise, so let's try to put it in the middle. So I think that is okay. Now we make the material a bit around 30% opacity and front only. Let's move it a bit to the back. Okay, so let's do first the crystal. I think the crystal is the first thing to do. So I will grab this control point curve and I will start somewhere here. You need to refine this with more peace at home. So I'm going to do something here. And so I think it's okay. Maybe here a bit more. Okay, now that we have our line, what we need to do is a simple revolve. So for this, we go down here, revolve, and we just put it on the Z axis. So now you see that our base or crystal glass is finished, and I think it's okay. And so what we need to do is just try to find a way to make these curves, but the complexity of this exercise is that this design or this decoration is getting thick to thin, and there are some ways to do it, and also it's getting around the shape of the crystal. So for this, what we're going to do is draw the shape first with a control point curve. So we draw some lines here, some points. And here I can just grab horizontal and intersect it like this. So I know that these 2 points are flat, so I just put them down here. Let me bring the curve so that you see better. Okay, so you see that these 2 points are flat, and these ones I just need to make according to this shape. Okay, so now we have this curvature, and what I need to do is first I need to imprint it on the glass so that I have the curvature itself. So we go and press imprint curve. So now this is the curve that I can delete, and this edge is the one I need to use. So for this, I'm going to press Shift D so that I get a curve out of this shape. So now I have this blue curve, and from here, what I need to do is I will draw a regular polygon, and I will draw it from this point where it says curve, edge, and end. So I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to make, in this case, with Shift and the mouse wheel button, I'm going to, let's say I can draw a polygon or hexagon. This shape you can decide on yourself, but for example, let's say that I make hexagon. So around the shape of this thickness. So now I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees so that it's looking in this direction. So now what I need to find is a tool that can sweep this hexagon into this curvature, but at the same time that I can control its thickness. So for this, I can press F and then curve array. I'm going to press the blue curve that we have, and you see that now it's following this shape. What I need to do is the number, I need to increase it, because especially here it needs to have more information how it needs to bend itself. So now the scale I need to put in around 0.20. I think it's around. And now I have all this information where I can just press L to loft. So you see that now I have this kind of shape, and all these polygons I can delete. Maybe except these last ones, just in case. So you see now I have this shape. It's exactly how I want it. So what do we need to do is now we need to make the same for the other side. So instead of drawing something, I'm just going to mirror it on the x-axis, but in this case, it's going to delete some information. So what I need to do is instead, I need to unclick the slice down mirror plane, and it will create two shapes, one for the other side. So now what I need to do is just join these pieces, and I just need to mirror them on the y-axis. So both of them should be correct, and I just press J, and now it's a solid. So now you see that it is actually quite easy to do. And this should apply to every single shape that you choose. So now I need to do exactly the same thing, but for the lower part. So let's say I will make a control point curve somewhere from down here. Try to draw the least points as possible. And I will draw it somewhere here, because now I'm getting way, way down. It would trespass the object, so try to be careful there when you're at home. So I'm going to put the curve a bit out, and now I just need to move these points around. I'm trying to find the place that this middle line should tell me where I should put my control points. I think it's correct. Okay, now what I need to do is just imprint it. Perfect. This one we can delete. And this one we just need to take Shift D. Okay, perfect. So now we do the same thing. So I need to draw another regular polygon from this curve edge end, and I just put, it was an hexagon, so I just make something like this. Okay, I think it's okay. We rotate it 90 degrees. And now we can just press again F, curve array, click on the curve, and we just need to have way, way more numbers. Let's say around this, and the scale, we can also make it bigger in this case. And you see that it is correct. It starts to grow way, way similar as the reference image. So in this case, we can say we want, let's round it to 4. It's a bit big, but I think it's okay. We press L to loft and accept. And again, we remove all the polygons. And now we have our shape. I think it looks good. And we grab again the object, mirror it on the X. This shape, I don't find it so bad, but we remove the slice down mirror plane down here. So now we have our little curvature here. And now this potion has this heart shape. So that's exactly what we look. We join these pieces, and we just mirror them on the Y and join them again. So now everything is a solid, it works. And now let's delete these lines. I think I don't need them anymore. So there would be a trouble here. If I grab, let's hide this image. So you see that now I have a trouble here. This is this connection is actually not so good. Though don't worry, there is actually ways to solve it. For example, let's try to cut it. So I'm going to draw 2 lines. One line here. I'm going to mirror it. And I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut only this object. Okay. Okay, so now what we need to do is delete this piece. And because it is a solid, what I need to grab is with 3, I grab this face and then this face. And then I just press L to loft. And we grab these pieces with Q and Q. Okay. So now this connection is way, way smooth. So this is perfect. Now it should be done the same on the other side. Grab this piece and delete it. And then I just grab with face these 2 faces, press L to loft. And then I grab this other solid, Q and Q, and boolean them. Great. So now we need to do the same for this part. Okay, so now we grab another line from here to here, mirror it. We grab both lines, and then we can just cut these pieces with C. We delete this object, and we grab the face and the face. We can just loft it. and boolean it. Great. The same for this side. Face and loft. Q and Q. Now it's perfect. Okay, this we should also do. Okay, so for this we can grab one line here, mirror it. So now I have these two lines, and what I need to do is just cut it again, grab again the lines, and we have the objects separate. We delete them. We grab the faces, so this face, and press L to loft. This face to this face, loft, and we boolean everything. Same for the other side. Delete, delete, face and face, loft, face and face, loft. And boolean. So now we have the solids, and they are very, very smooth. Okay, so now we can turn again our reference image. So everything seems okay. Now we need to do these little ones down here. So it's basically the same process again. So I draw a control point curve to here and here. We just need to control these points better. Okay. And we draw another control point from here to here. Okay, so what I would recommend to do is that we draw the line, the object from here. So for this, I'm going to grab these two lines, imprint it in the crystal. Now that it is printed, I can delete these curves. I can also delete these other lines and all the other lines that I don't need. Great. So now what I need to do is grab these lines and this line and make Shift T. And these two lines I can join. What else can we do? Either we draw the object from here or we draw the object from here. So let's try to do it from here. So I'm going to grab a regular polygon. From this end, I'm going to click. And then I'm going to draw the hexagon, similar size as the reference. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees on the x-axis, so it's flat. And I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis, following the normal, the perpendicular of the normal of this curve. Okay, so we grab this shape, press curve array, select this curve. Be sure that you're grabbing the whole curvature. And now we just need to scale it, let's say that around 1.8. Yeah, I think it's correct. Just make a bit more numbers, accept, and just press L and accept. So I'm going to delete all the other polygons, unhide the solid to see if it's correct. I think it's correct. And there we have it. So now we just need to do the same for this place. So something we could do is just grab this line and regular polygon again, make the shape. So it's hexagon around this size. Okay. Rotate it 90 degrees and follow the normal direction, something like this. So we have this object, it should look like this. And what we need to do is again, F, curve array, and we grab this object. So the scale should be around 1.50, maybe a bit more number. Loft and accept. We delete this polygon. It seems to work. Here probably we will have troubles when we join them, but this is something we can fix after. This face maybe is not so much trouble, but let's try to make it just a bit smaller. something like this. And this one I think is okay. You can also make, if you want, a bit taller. Okay, seems good. So because here we will have a trouble, what we can do is just Shift H to hide everything else. Okay, so here, if you see here closely, we have this problem. So let's see if we can grab all these edges, push them like this, and we mirror it on the x-axis, and now it's going to come correctly. We need to fix this part again. Here is again a bit troublesome. Okay, so what we need to do now is we join these pieces, and here we can also make it. Here we will have also troubles, but this is relatively easy because we can just grab a line that goes from here to here, cut this object, delete the extra pieces, and let's see if this fixes the problem. We patch this hole and we do the same here. Now it is a sheet still. So if it is still a sheet, it's most likely that the trouble is here. So let's draw some lines. And these lines I'm going to cut the object. Also this object. And let's see if we can patch this. Okay, now they are solid, so now it is good. Now we just love these faces and boolean everything. So now it works perfect. Okay. So we need to do exactly the same thing for this object. So we know that when we have this kind of troubles, these edged edges, what we need to do is just extend it a bit. For example, there. We can just mirror it on the x-axis, join these pieces, and we need to cut also these lines. So I suggest we grab a line, just be sure that everything is above it, all the mistakes are above, cut it, delete this part, and we patch this object, and we patch it here as well. So now it is a solid. We didn't have any trouble here, but we need to do anyway the cut. Okay, so we just cut this object, grab this and grab this face and this face and loft it. Select everything Q and Q, and there we have it. I think it's working quite good. So now because these two pieces are solids, I can just press Q and Q and mirror it on the X, and we have our decorations. Now it does look cool. I think I like it a lot. Great. So what else can we do? We have this circle down here on the neck of the bottle. So for this is relatively easy. We can just, for example, we can just grab a line. We can draw a line here, maybe a bit down. We can just imprint it. So it should be all around our neck. And this curve, we can just press P to make a pipe. And let's grow it for around 4 centimeters, or maybe a bit more. Now this is too much. I don't need to cut this part. So I'm going to diminish a bit. So let's try with 5 centimeters. Okay, 5 centimeters seems okay-ish. I think it's correct. So for this, I'm going to press B, and there we have it. We have a new body. If you want, you can also join it, but actually I would say, instead of making this object, if we already have hexagons, I think it's going to break a bit the style of the bottle. So I would like to have a bit more congruence. So for this, I'm going to make the thickness again 5 centimeters, but the vertex count, I want 6. So I think this will bring much more personality. Press B. You can do your own shapes if you want. Okay, so I think we finished our bottle now. The only thing missing is the seal. But I also need to fix the neck of the bottle. This opposite part I need to fix, because as you see, the profile only finishes here. What I need to do is just make a cut. So I'm going to create a line, cut this object. Now I'm going to select this profile, Shift D, but delete the rest. So I already know that this profile needs to connect to this point here. Okay, so how can we do this? We can just draw a control point curve. So something like this, and connects it to this edge N. So now I have these two lines, and what I need to do is just join them. But I would like to fix this part. I just need to grab this point. Let's see if a soft bevel works. I can maybe grab this point and something like this. Okay, so now I can grab this face with 3 and I can just make a revolve. You should see that there should not be any mistake if we can make Q and Q. Now everything seems smooth and the bottle seems quite okay. Super. So I think we can start deleting all the curves. So now we have our object. The only thing is missing. So for this I can just draw a line. Let's draw a cork, something like this. And I'm going to make it, so I suppose here in the middle is the tangent. And from here I can just draw a line here. So we do the same. Revolve this, sealing the bottle, and I can just now round this part. Round it here and round it down. So there we have it, we have our bottle. Now that we have our potion, we can just maybe, if you want, you can add a bit of extra details. This is up to you. Let's say that I want to craft just a little necklace, just a tiny chain that goes maybe somewhere from here. So for example, we can draw a line from here to here, imprint it. So I need to grab this line, I press Shift D, and we can just grab control point curve from this end, and we can just draw a line that goes down here. We need to snap this to this line. And this point, I suggest we put it a bit in the middle. Okay, we can do the same, mirror it. And these points we can put them somewhere here. So this would be our necklace. Join it, and we just need to grab a little chain. So for this I can draw one little circle, duplicate it, move it a bit in front, draw a line from tangent to tangent and from tangent to tangent. I'm going to trim with T these inside parts. Grab everything, join it, press P, we draw a little chain. Okay, so this little chain we can just grab and put it here. And what we need to do is F, curve array. And we make the numbers really high. I would say around 100 in my case. But the chain is incorrect, as you see. So what we need to do is just play with the twist. Let's put 10,000. Okay, so 10,000 magically works, and I think is quite correct. Okay, super, it worked. And we can just make here a little heart. So just let's draw, okay, let's draw from the front view a little heart with a control point curve. So we have half the heart, mirror it, press F, and then click down here, Shift H to hide everything. And now from the side view, we can just draw another control point curve. We draw a line here, go straight, and then we go down here. Okay, so we have these two curves extruded in the back. Hide these ones, select 1, 2, and 3, loft it, and we have our little heart. Now we grab these faces, delete them, mirror this object with F. Okay, so we have our heart. Now unhide everything else. Move it to the center here, rotate it a bit. Okay, just putting it there really fast. And I think it looks good. So you can grab a line. We can just rectangular array down, imprint it. And we can grab just press P, the selection size, vertex count 6, beam. So let's see how it looks. I think like this is perfect. Okay, so now we finish our bottle. Now let's go back to Blender and make some materials and then the final render. Okay, here in Blender, I just need to make the connection with Plasticity. Lifelink refresh. And you see how our bottle came. I think it looks super cool. Okay, so just let's make some basic materials. We should put some material. This would be the glass. So transmission is all the way up. But this is a glass, so let's make it roughness almost none. Okay, so something important we need to do, we need to make the liquid. So for this, we go back to Plasticity. I'm going to duplicate the crystal. And I'm going to delete redundant topology. Because I am going to make the potion by just deleting this part. So I got the opposite part. I'm going to select this face, delete it, and this face deleted. And this I'm just going to patch it. Unhide all. And now we have our liquid. Now it is a bit big, so I'm just going to scale it really quickly. Okay. So now we have our liquid. I'm going to make a new color. Let's say just make it red. Okay, the render is finishing. I'm quite happy with the result. If you like this tutorial, please like, share, and subscribe. This I always appreciate. Thank you very much for all the ones who have done it. Thank you. I also appreciate everybody who has bought the tutorial that I'm selling. Thank you as well. This helps a lot. The channel helps me to continue making these tutorials. And so now basically what I did was just some imperfections. The golden part here has a bit of rough bump. It's a bit too drastic, so I just need to lower it down. And in the liquid, inside the liquid, what I did was just put a very small point light with a very bright level. And this is what makes the trick, that the liquid looks a bit glowing. So this is quite cool, I think. So I think that's all for the moment. Thank you. And I think we can say ex luto ad aurum. Until next time. Thank you.